Good afternoon, this is Robin Bieber on the European Midday Roundup and Good Morning America chart talk on the 24th of June at 12 o'clock in the morning London time. The chart in front of us is August 60-minute Brent, and you can see that apart from one brief spiky rally which was flagged by the 60-minute stochastic, the pressure's on, and the pressure's on across the board. We're below the 5-day moving averages. That is a bit of a problem because it suggests a move to the 8-day moving averages, which WTI, Brent and gas oil have virtually just tested and hit. More of that in a minute. The key to the market action today is going to be RBOB's 5-day moving average at around 127.94, and we're just below there at the moment, and the resistance at 130.72 where we failed. Below the 5-day suggests a move to the 8-day, therefore more pressure, downside pressure on the market. Holding the 5-day suggests the market, generally the contracts are holding, and that we should develop a little bit more upside, which would only be confirmed on RBOB being over 130.72. Enough of this, let's look at some charts. WTI. Here you go, through the 5, approaching the 8. It hasn't hit the 8 quite. The 8 is 39.24. We've made a low at 39.43, but it looks like it wants to test it. And were we to go further negative, this stochastic would be bearishly diverging, which is not good news and probably sets us up for a test of the 13-day around 38.80. If we can get back over the 5-day around 39.95, then this contract is sound. Brent. Here you go, straight down to the 8-day moving average, 41.60, made a low at 41.73 and is so far between the 5 and 8s. It's going to be a 5 and 8 management day today. Over the 5-day around 42.28, it maintains upside back to 43.41. Below the 8-day, and we're sliding down to 41.06, the 13-day moving average, and maybe lower. Worrying development on the stochastic. Were it to fail at the 8 and plunge a bit more, this stochastic would be bearishly diverging, which would not be good news and suggest more of a correction. Lower is due. Heating oil, right down to its 8-day, which comes in at 119.13. We've made a low at 118.75 and we're above the 8-day at the moment. No further downside while the 8-day is holding. That applies to crudes too. No upside whilst it's contained by the 5-day around 120.58. Again, it's a 5 and 8-day management day. It's going to be critical what this contract does, as the others, at their 5 and 8-day moving averages. And it's got a negative stochastic, but there isn't really bearish divergence there. RBOB is absolutely the key here. It's right on its 5-day moving average. It's printing 127.82. The 5-day comes in at 127.96. If it fails to hold the 5-day at 127.96, then it's going down likely to the 8-day around 124.83, and that would have the rest either testing without doubt and probably below their 8-day moving averages and looking vulnerable. This would be a problem. So it must hold the 5-day, otherwise it could easily find its way to the 8, which would cause some issues across the board, negative issues. The stochastic isn't negative yet, but were it to go negative, it's arguably going to be showing some bearish divergence. So the market's in for some testing times. Now, if it can get back over 130.72, the most important resistance on the board today, it had a high at 130.56, then the uptrend is flying again. It must hold the 5-day to maintain some upside, and it needs to get over 130.72 to get a genuine target higher. At the moment, watch this 5-day like a hawk. It's critical and the most important support point on the board today, and we're within about 10 points of it. And now gas oil, it's struggling and it's between the 5 and 8. If it can get back above the 5 around 361.75, all okay. Between the two, it's in no man's land, but if it fails to hold the 8 at 354 area, it's in trouble and should push lower. So overall, we've got a market that now is between the 5 and 8-day moving averages. The 8-day moving averages have held. They have to hold, or we're going for another leg south on the correction to the 13-day. The uptrend is not in trouble unless we're below the 8-day, and even then, if it holds the 13-day, it's sort of okay. We're just in a correction mode. Below the 13 is different kettle of fish. RBOB needs to stay above the 5-day, otherwise it's going to start wobbling and start heading towards the 8, which will put pressure on the rest. And if we just look at the front end spreads, the front end on Brent is in trouble, but it's holding the 21-day moving average on the AUG-SEP, and that comes in at minus 19. No further downside unless we break minus 19, in which case we go down to minus 34. It's got a negative stochastic, doesn't look great. The CEPOC, it's below the 8 at minus 11, looks like it wants to test minus 17. So both these front spreads on Brent are in trouble. On WTI, pretty much the same, but we're holding the 5 and 8s around minus 14 to 18, particularly minus 18 where the 8-day moving average comes in. So long as we hold that, fine on AUG-SEP TI, otherwise we're going down to minus 25. And it's holding minus 16 on the CEPOC. It must do so, otherwise it's going down to minus 19 and lower. Both these spreads are in trouble. And the back end, DEC Red DEC, below the 5-day now at minus 99 on the DEC Red DEC TI. If we stay below there, we're going further south, probably down to minus 133, the 8-day moving average. And the DEC Red DEC on Brent, we're below the key 5-day at minus 192. If that continues, we're heading south to the 8-day around minus 223. That's all for today, folks. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.